Hello everybody. We're out here on our disaster farm. So it seems that that's all that it is. This is our dry land that we bought. That is just 320 acres of solid bindweed. You can't get anything to grow. The soil crust, the minute it gets a drop of rain on it, it's pretty much a pretty bad piece of ground. It was just not the best. Just wasn't taken care of at all. So yeah, we bought it and we're just trying to work on it, I guess. So we got, I said about a sprayer. This is a Wylie sprayer. I don't know, it's a sprayer. So 90-foot booms on it. There's how the name is spelled. It has a John Deere rate controller, which is awesome. So I can hook it up straight into this old style GPS from this 2630 and set all my rates in there, and it works great. Typically we've been putting this, trying to go into wheat with it, but last year we had great moisture right before we planted our wheat, and then we had another inch after we planted it, and it crusted, but we ran a rotary hoe over it, and so we had a great stand, and then it just rain turned off. Just absolutely, it just didn't do anything. So that was a waste. Like, we didn't get anything last year, we didn't get anything the year before. So kind of switched things up and went to haygrazer this year. I've got this thing split in half. I'm doing 160, and so the other side we had planted haygrazer when we had some moisture back in May, and it started to come up, and then we got to about like 104 degrees with 40-50 mile an hour winds continuous for like 2 weeks straight, and so it zapped all the moisture out of it, and then all the little seedlings died. We actually had some irrigated ground we had to completely replant because the same thing happened to it. Like it even killed our irrigated ground, so our naturally our dry land, it wasn't going to fare very good. But there is some that made it, some that's standing. Then we got some rain at the 4th of July, and we planted this half. And as you can see, I mean, our bindweed, I mean, that's all that's growing. We have some haygrazer that came up. Some of it still coming up. There's the stuff that actually held moisture. But as soon as we put it in the ground, it stopped raining again for about 30 days. And then we got some rain the other day. So yeah, it's kind of a mess. I'm gonna turn around here. But you can kind of, this is the other half. And we're going again. Now the other half I've already sprayed. So I sprayed it right behind the planter, and it actually did really well. Like, so I burned the bindweed off on that side, and it actually did really well. This side we weren't able to spray it because we didn't have enough established. Our haygrazer wasn't big enough, and so we had to wait until this stuff emerged and got a couple leaves. Well, the problem was, and all of a sudden it stopped raining. So it wasn't going to do us any good to spray it because this bindweed will just turn off, and it just doesn't do you any good to spray it at that point. So we had to wait till we had some moisture. That way the haygrazer that we did have coming up could actually handle what we're spraying out here. It could metabolize it and go on and grow. But we do have some coming up, so a lot of these places, that stuff ended up getting a little too shallow, and so it never sprouted, never germinated. And now going across here, you can see there's, I guess, a decent amount that's germinating and coming on through. But yeah, this half, we will probably, if we can get this bindweed knocked back, then we will probably come through here if we do get some more rain, and no-till some wheat into this side, in amongst this haygrazer. I know haygrazer is toxic to wheat. It'll makes it hard for it to grow, but we'll do that if we get some good rain, and we'll get some more forage coming on. But it all kind of ties in. This field's in such bad shape. You know, it's got absolutely no organic matter in it at all. The crust, the instant it gets a drop of water on it, so you practically have to have really good rain, plant right after a rain, get it to emerge, and not have it rain until it emerges, or you're just running a rotary hoe over everything. So the haygrazer here, I never had any intention, even when we thought it was going to be a decent crop, to cut and bale it. We were just going to let it stand and turn cows in here in the wintertime, let them eat as much as they wanted to, and just start incorporating stuff back into the soil, because this ground is just junk. So, but that's, you know, that's kind of what happens. That's how it is now. We did go ahead I went ahead and bought this sprayer, because as you can see, our bindweed is just absolutely, you know, that's what's green out here. That's what's actually green. It's so out of control that even if we do get something to come up, we can't compete with the bindweed for the moisture. So nothing grows very well. Everything's always fighting for moisture, and it just doesn't do worth a hell. So, you know, and then you have little spots where there isn't any bindweed, and you actually have some haygrazer coming on, and yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with that. We're, you know, really, realistically, we should be fallowing this in the summertime, and, you know, just actually tilling it, fallowing it, and then kim fallowing it to try to get a handle on this, the weed pressure that's here. The only issue that we're running into is we haven't had consistent rain in the fall to produce a wheat crop, you know, because we need grazing. That's the only reason I bought this place, is to dump animals out here. I don't, no intention of ever growing grain or anything like that. I just need acres to dump animals on. And so, but since we haven't had consistent rain in the fall, then that presents our problem. So if we can fallow it in the early spring, because if we do have moisture, this bindweed will come on early. It'll be as green as it can be in March here if we have moisture out here. So, especially by the end of March, if we have a warm spring. So that's kind of what we're looking at, is we need something out here, and we need to start incorporating something into the soil. And we're really not going to incorporate anything to the soil with wheat, because we'll just grub it off with cattle. So that's why we're kind of leaning more towards the haygrazer, because we'll, you know, even this year's been a dry year, but we still have something growing. So I'm going to kind of move it more towards haygrazer, and then you can see where we ran the grain drill. A few spots are still a little wet, but we had to take that opportunity to get something into the ground and growing. we just got to get something out here, you know. And then if we just chem fallow it and you know, just try to keep knocking it back with the sprayer as much as we can, that's the route we're gonna have to go. And that's the reason why I went ahead and bought this sprayer, is just for this piece of ground. This ground is so bad. I just can't afford to have somebody out here spraying and spraying. You know, this sprayer's like new. Really great shape, and it all hooks in, so it's easy for me to use. This is not something I've really ever had to mess with, and so it's super user friendly for me. And I can pay for it. I've got to make 2 trips across this farm, and I can pay for my sprayer, my yearly payment on it. And John Deere is running like 0% interest right now in financing, so I saved a really good amount of money when I bought it, just on the interest savings alone. So, you know, I just went ahead and took advantage of the situation. You know, all these companies are hurting to move equipment because farm economy sucks, and COVID sucks, and you know, everything just sucks. And so you can get dirt cheap interest right now, and this is one of those situations that I was gonna have to pay somebody to do anyway, so I'll just do it myself. And we have our applicator's license in New Mexico, and so we can get what we need. You know, might as well. Here's some of that haygrazer. And then you can see we did go through and actually replanted this side. So we do have more coming up, and we'll probably go through a no-till wheat. It is something I had kind of thought about doing anyway, is no-tilling wheat through all of this. And you know, if this haygrazer only got a couple feet tall, come through this fall, if we had a good couple inches of rain and just no-till wheat into it, and really have something going for us then. You know, that was kind of my thoughts behind it. But yeah, so I just decided to spend some money and start fixing the problem, because if we can't fix this place, then it will go into grass. But there's no way I'm going to be able to get grass to grow here if the weeds choke it out before I can ever get it started. So I'm going to have to fix the issue at hand first, and then go from there. And then we'll either keep farming it, or we will put it back into grass. And then probably in a couple of years after that, then we can just dump cattle out here. So, you know, it'll all work out one way or the other. So that's what's going on. Just thought I'd give you a little farming update, and we'll catch you on the next one.